Good morning. My name is Jason Crocht. I'm the pastoral intern here at Cornerstone Community Church with your Cornerstone Connection daily devotional. And I wonder in these current and troubling times if we may tend to hastily look about for solution, to grasp at the first answer that we might find. And this is a very natural urge, a very common one, but it's ultimately mistaken. Because we can tend to act in haste. We can tend to look for anything that might solve our problems, only to find in the end that that solution will ultimately disappoint. Today I want to look at the words of the prophet Isaiah and to give you some encouragement from them. We're going to be looking at Isaiah chapter 28. And in this chapter, God is pronouncing judgment on Jerusalem and Ephraim, representing Judah and Israel, his covenant people who were living in disobedience to him. He pronounces judgment on their wicked leaders and on the nation themselves. But in the midst of that judgment, he makes a promise. He makes a promise to preserve a remnant of his people for himself, and a promise to lay a new foundation where justice will reign. And it is in the midst of that promise where we find our verse. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 16. Behold, I lay in Zion a stone for a foundation, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. Whoever believes will not act hastily. This last clause, whoever believes will not act hastily, is expanded on and clarified by the Apostle Paul in his epistle to the Romans, chapter 9, verse 33, where he writes that whoever believes in Christ will not be put to shame. And in this light, we can read Isaiah's words in a different fashion, in a fuller, more complete fashion. For whoever trusts in Christ and Christ alone, not in temporary solutions, not in temporary fixes, but in Christ, will not be put to shame, will not be disappointed when the solutions ultimately fail, will not make haste, but will find their full peace, their full contentment in Him and Him alone. For Christ is a cornerstone, a sure foundation, never failing, a tried stone, subject to trials and sufferings for our sake. So look to Christ. Look to His kingdom. Look to all that He has done. For He is in Zion, not just the Old Testament city, but the New Testament church, where God dwells with His people. So look to Him. Look to Him and be satisfied. Look to Him and find peace and fulfillment. Don't look to the temporary solutions. Don't look to temporary fixes, to long-lasting problems. Now, of course, this doesn't mean not to find solutions, not to seek them out, but only not to put our full trust, our full weight of assurance on them. For that trust only belongs to Christ. And when we look to Christ, when we look to Him, and we seek His peace and His face, an amazing thing happens. We can watch all around us, watch the fickle ways of the world, the ever-changing situations and struggles that we face grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. For in Christ we can have peace, true and lasting peace. In Him we can be content, not to make haste, not to seek the first solution to our problem, but to trust in Him, to trust in His plan, in His ways, in His truth, and in His light. So trust in Christ. Trust in Him, and you will not be put to shame. Thank you.